Michael, open up. You open this door right now. You can't do this to me, Michael. Michael, I know you're in there. I'm not leaving this spot until you come out.
You know how it goes. And tell her to get her whip off her front yard.
Yo, what's up y'all? We're back with another action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at some figures I didn't think I was going to get the chance to get. I know Neca had them on their website and I wasn't able to get them over there, and I thought that the next time I see these figures will probably be on eBay. But I was out and about yesterday doing my toy hunt looking for Black Widow, and I happened to stumble across one more set of these figures and I had to bite the bullet, man. So we're looking at the Neca Eastman Lairds Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic version 4-pack. Neca surprised me with the height of these figures. We got these guys clocking in at about 5 3/4, so not quite 6 inches, but when you get them in hand, they kind of feel like they're 6 inches. That's crazy. And NECA's really good at translating cartoons to figure form, and I have not read the comic of this specific version, but just looking at these guys, they look beautiful. It's a beautiful job. These animated lines look great. The faces look superb. I love the details for these faces. You can make out some nice shading on their torso, and even the green on their skin has some different variations of green. Look how bulky these guys look, but they look sleek at the same time, man. These things are awesome. They also have these tails at the bottom and tons of texturing all over the turtles. Each shell is different for each turtle, so that's kind of cool, except for the back shell part. That's all the same, but that's okay. For your accessories, we got a couple different options for the turtles, including a cloak and some alternate bandanas, an extra arm swap piece. You only get one set of these relaxed style pose hands, which is unfortunate. I kind of like these hands. 5 sets of these grip hands. You can also use the style pose type hands. Only 1 set of fist hands for the group, and then you get 1 more set of these additional relaxed style pose type hands. Quick look at Raphael's face sculpt. It's got a grimace to it. Looks like he's about to hurt somebody. I like the facial expression for it. Looks really good. Then we have his sides right here, which are done well enough. Not too much shading going on in the blade. I guess maybe that might be accurate to like the comic for his size. I do like the straps around them though. It does have a little bit of texture on them as well. They look pretty good. And Raphael here also comes with an alternate arm. It's pretty simple swapping out the arms. Really easy swapping them back in. And the arm itself looks really good. Same amount of articulation and bicep rotation is kind of stiff on that, so I'm gonna hold off on that. But the look looks good. Quick look at the relaxed bandana version. I like the way these came out. It's got a flex to it. It's on a rotation. And then we have Donnie here. As you can see, their belts are individualized as well. Like they're completely different belts. Donnie's got a serious expression, which is fitting. And then we have his bow staff, which is done nicely. Got some texturing on it. His belt wrap is kind of designed to hold it, so that's pretty cool, and it holds fairly well. And I really like how they sculpted the back, like the shape of it. That's pretty cool, and it doesn't protrude as much as say like the movie turtles, so that's interesting. And then we have my favorite turtle here, which is Mikey, and his expression looks nice too. It looks like he's kind of having fun, but he's serious at the same time. He's got a white speck around his mouth that I can't get rid of, so I'm not feeling that too much. Here's a look at his nunchucks. They're done pretty plainly. I guess that's accurate. It is what it is. And Mikey here is sporting a windswept bandana. It's got a little flex to it. I almost wish it was a little more of a curved dramaticness to it. And then we have Leo here with an intense looking expression. Oops, it just popped off the head. I wasn't securely on there. But he has straps that goes across his chest, so as you imagine, it hinders the articulation in the head range slightly. Just wanted to get a quick look at the details around the mouth. That looks really nice too, that line work. They did such a good job on these turtles. And then we have his sword here, which has texturing all over it. The detail looks really, really good. It sheaths in fairly nice. It holds in fairly well. You got this light blue frosty type color, and it's two-tone for the blade with that blue and some white. That looks pretty cool. And then you have some texturing for his hilt. Looks like some yellow paint rub though at the end of the blade. I'm not feeling that. These accessories right here, I guess they'd be like ninja stars or something like that. It looks okay to the design. It's got some light blue frosting on the similar design. It holds fairly well. It looks good. And putting on Ralph's cloak, I find it easy if you remove the bandana first. Just makes things easy. It's a tight wedge to get it on there, but it holds very nice. It's not loose or anything like that. It looks really cool. Kind of reminds me of the black version of the last Ronin comics. It's got some texture. The detail looks really good. It's a cool accessory to have to switch it up. You get a nice little illustration as a backdrop inside of the packaging. That looks really cool. Makes me want to pick up a pencil again. One thing I noticed though is when I opened up the packaging, like it was in a sequence. Leo was last, and like when it got to the spot where Mikey was, he was swapped out with Ralph. And I noticed that because when I popped off the head, you actually had the letters on the inside. The crazy thing is, looking at both of their facial expressions, I actually thought they should be swapped. For your articulation, we're just going to run through this with Donnie here. So he's got a double ball joint at the neck, affording some really good circular motion. That's pretty good for a turtle. Of course, the face shape is going to hinder it a little bit for the side-to-side motion. Of course, you got your forward rotation. You do have a shift motion at that neck, so you can kind of rock it forward and back. You can adjust it to allow him to look up about that much, so that's actually really good. He could look up a little further, but I'm not complaining. That's solid. You can only look down just a little bit due to the sculpt, so that could be a little bit better. Some of their hip joints could be a little bit tighter though. It's got a wobble to it, and their joints and some of their arms and stuff could be a little bit tighter as well. You can't get his arms up to a T-pose, so that's a little unfortunate, but I think you'll be all right. He does have a rotation right there for the bicep. He does not have a rotation for the forearm, so that's a little different from Neca. He does have a hinge and rotation for the wrist, which works out all right. No vertical hinge for any of the hands, but you do get some nice range of motion for them elbows thanks to that double joint. Nice. Because of the sculpt work for his chest, you can't really get his arms forward that much, so now I'm kind of long for the day where a company can give us some good butterfly joints or something with these figures. Here's a look at the diaper piece for his pelvic area, and what if they made it so that the shell, the bottom half of it, was a separate piece from the top of it, maybe attached with the belt, and that was kind of floating or something like that, just to kind of increase the range of motion in the torsos. Would that work? You do get a shift motion at the bottom of the torso. That floppiness is killing me, but as you can see, he goes side to side a decent amount. Go a little circular motion right there. He goes back a okay amount for a turtle. That's not too bad. There's that shift motion for the lower torso. As far as the front and back shells, they're kind of like on this tab that tabs into their torso, so there's a little bit of wiggle room as far as the articulation goes, but you can get them crunching forward. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Neca is getting better with their turtle ab crunches. That's pretty good. I mean, not great, but it's good. Great rotation at the hips. It can get a little bit funky, but I appreciate the range. You can also get those full splits with these bad boys. That is wonderful. You got your thigh swivel right there. And here's a look at the joint. It's got some ridges on it, so it'll add for tension, so that's all right. You got a rotation at the tail. I think it's a ball joint, so that's pretty cool. No swivel at the calf, but using that joint at the knee, you can actually get it forward. If you finesse it just a little bit, he goes forward a fair amount. That's pretty decent right there. I'll take that. In a perfect world, it'll crunch deeper than that, but it smells like progression. Pretty good range at the ankles going down. As far as going up, that actually could be just a little bit better. It's okay, but yeah, that could be just a little bit better. The worst part of their articulation is going to be the ankles going inward. Like, it has a good amount of range to it, but look how steep that angle is. It is going to look really bad once you start like posing this guy and using this thigh swivel. Like, personally, I think every figures should just have swivel at the calves. Like, I don't care what anybody say, man. You should be able to adjust that, because it's going to look funny when you pose in the legs with the angles. Or if you want to save the scope and you want to put a cut right there for the calf, then at the very least, they should have an ankle swivel. I know that's not natural, but comics ain't natural. But as you can see, his chest shell, like, it affords some space, so you can kind of get those legs flush straight up just about, and it kind of curves out. You could spin that all the way around if you want. So yeah, visually, these figures look awesome. I don't have any complaints when it comes to the way they look, except I had a couple specks on Mikey and some paint scratched on his chest, so that was a bummer. So I'm going to give them a 10 for their look. As far as their quality, some tension could be better in certain spots of each figure, but I'm going to give them an 8.5 for that. For the accessories, I generally think it's a good spread, but I think for the price point, they should have came with one additional head that you can kind of put it in rotation, and they also should have had 2 sets of fist hands and 2 sets of those relaxed hands. So I'm going to give them an 8.9 for accessories. For your size comparisons, here we have it next to your Neca Shredder from the movie, your cartoon April, and your Michelangelo also from the movie. And as you can see, April is just a little bit taller than Michelangelo, so they've actually got an interesting height with these figures. Next, here we have it next to your Storm Collectible Scorpion, your Rivotech Spider-Man. I'm so proud of you. And your Marvel Legends Spider-Man. And lastly, here we have it next to a Mayfax Batman, your SH Figuarts Ken, and your Kotobukiya Zero Monica. So final thoughts on the Neca Eastman Lairds comic version Turtles 4-pack. These figures are super fun to play with. They look really good. Like, they did a really good job with the way these figures look. My biggest complaint with the figure is going to be the movement at the ankles. Like, that steep hinge is so bittersweet playing around with this figure. Like, there are a ton of poses you can't really get into with the figure. Tons of poses that you got to work around that hinge just to kind of make it look fluid. And I kind of wish there was a joint at the neck too, maybe a little bit more ab crunch, but I see they stepping everything up. So for that reason, I'm gonna give it articulation 8.5. Would I recommend these figures? It's hard to say, man, because they come at a really high price point, but I know that aftermarket price is going to be even crazier, so I'm kind of factoring all of that stuff. But ultimately, they should have came with more stuff to play with and fool around with. So for that reason, I'm going to give their final score at 8.9. So unofficially, yes, go for it. All right, y'all, that's my video. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.